Hello, everybody. Welcome to Win, Lose, or Cry, a Maple Leafs podcast.
It's been a week.
It's been a week.
It has been a great week.
Yeah.
How the Avs doing?
Yeah, they kind of split their games. That wasn't too fun, but they beat Tampa. That's all that matters to me.
That's
the
really
Cup.
good. They're a good team. It's
Sure.
as long as they play really well against them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
If that is any type of possible outcome for a Stanley Cup final, that would be an unbelievable series to watch back and forth.
That's fair.
So
That's fair.
So the Leafs.
All right.
You want to just jump right into it, boys?
Yeah, Brandon.
I got things to say.
What was game 5? That was Sharks,
So,
right?
Game 5 was against the Sharks.
Let's
Now I have a
run-
negatives and I actually made positives, but I have
You know what? Just start me with the positives.
Positives?
Just
Oh,
hit
okay.
me with one.
Okay. Kashe had a really good goal. And when he scored it, he knocked over Wes McCauley, which was pretty funny.
Yes. I did see that. That was a good.
It was a very good goal.
But he turned around and made sure he was okay too. if you saw it.
Yeah.
Before he got up and celebrated, he turned and he's like, "You good? You good?"
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
he
he
cheered
got
it
it,
on.
yeah.
Like,
It was good.
I liked seeing that. I liked seeing that.
And then Tavares got his first goal. Nylander did like 90% of the work,
Bears got
but
the goal though.
yeah, he got a nice dirty goal. That's
Yeah.
what we've been lacking.
Yeah,
That's all I got.
that's fair. That's fair.
The other list. Okay. So first of all, after the game, I just have a thing here from Keith. Before I get into it, Keith's saying that people should be asking as many questions to Marner and Matthews as they are for Richie, because Richie has been rough, to say the least. I'm sorry, James.
Yeah.
And in case I didn't mention it, the Leafs did lose this game 5-3 against the Sharks. The Sharks, who were playing their third game in 4 days, and this was the second half of a back-to-back. That's great. Weirdly enough, they actually started the game okay, which is a reverse for them. But what I was noticing was the Leafs were passing a lot to the slot with nobody there, so it's just like they know they're supposed to be going for dirty goals, but nobody's there to get the dirty goal. I saw that a lot, and this is a theme all year long and all for the rest of the games. Lots of speeding into the other team's zone, and just circling, doing nothing with it, getting to the quarter like, oh, I'm here first, give away the puck. Give away the puck. Like nothing. Like we could talk about it. Their puck possession is through the roof, but their shots aren't, and their goals aren't, because they just like wee. It's bad, and this game we had Hutchinson in, and we could talk about him later. This is the 4th season in a row that we've used Hutchinson, and at this point we should know he's not an option, and we're still stuck with him, and we're still putting him in games. And what do you do? Like,
No.
I don't have too much other to say about the game. Like, they just didn't play very well. They picked it up. They had a decent first period. They picked it up like normal in the third. But it was just like whatever. It's not a great loss, but nothing too egregious. I guess it's just them playing like they have been that I've had issues with. James, what do you think about it?
I mean, I agree with you there. What you said. He did have a nice goal in the first period there. Kampf and Sandin actually had nice shots on net. They had a couple nice attempts. I mean, nothing went in the first period there, but they did have some nice attempts on net, and that's kind of the highlights of what I'm going to say, other than what you said there. I mean, Hutchinson's defense, the third goal that went in, there was nothing he could have done with that.
No, I agree.
It was a clean shot from the point. There was too many people in net or in front of the net, and he couldn't do anything. The other goals, different story, but I will say I'll take that third one on him. It wasn't on him. And I hate to rag on the guy, but he hasn't been playing well, and I don't know what it is with him. I'm sure we'll talk about it. He had a terrible turnover in the second period.
Yep.
Right on the Sharks' blue line, he turned around, lost the puck, and gave them a 2-1 breaking down. Like it was horrible, and it's the kind of thing that is going to make us lose. And they need to tighten up defensively before they need to focus on the offense, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do you, Chase?
Well, I went through, like, I didn't get to really watch it too much live, but I went through a lot of the highlights through this game. A couple pinpoint ones, kind of the same thing, like going back to the Kasha goal. Like, he made a nice move showing off like the silky mitts that he's supposed to be coming with, and then kind of the hype that he came with when he went to Anaheim before the injuries took place. But then one of the ones that kind of stood out to me was actually on the third goal. So it was, you can't blame Hutchinson whatsoever. But when you actually watch the play develop beforehand, it actually starts with Matthews along the sideboards. He gets the puck and he wings it right up the middle, which day one from novice hockey, you were taught either off the boards or high off the glass and out. You never go up the middle. Middleton picks it off, and he passes over to who I know, like I'll harp on him. I think he's on a decline, but you still don't want to give Erik Karlsson that much room to take a shot because he will still find the corner, and he did.
Yeah, that guy can't. He can't turn as well as he used to. I mean, he literally can't turn on his one side, but he's still got a cannon.
Yes,
he can still play very well defensively down any type of kind of positioning that you need. It's just some of his mobility has been kind of removed from his game.
Absolutely.
But then the other thing that we run into watching, or that I ran into the game, is there's still a lot of defensive breakdowns in front of the goalie, and there's a lot of running around in the defensive zone. That first goal, bad rebound by Hutchinson, but you also have Spezza and Brody standing out front of the net, not picking up anybody, and it allowed Couture to be able to bang in the first goal. And then in the fourth goal, it was just bad goaltending and bad defense because I forget who the Sharks forward was. I think it might have been Couture again. Walks free out of the corner, and the pass goes right across the front of the net to Dahlin, who bangs in the fourth goal, and that could have easily been stopped or even just picked off to be cleared out. So they showed some weakness, but when you break down the stats throughout the game, they outshot the Sharks 33-31. Their power play, we're starting to see cool off. They went 0 for 3, but their penalty kill still looking strong. They went 2 for 2, and then in the faceoffs out once again, they're above 50%. They're operating at a 52% faceoff percentage through that game against the Sharks. So that helps, but when you're not able to tie everything together and you're still leaving your defensive zone almost as a back burner thought, and you're trying to go so hard on the offense, it's not going to be the good mixture. It's not going to work out for you.
Well, and like even what you said there, the 52% on the faceoffs, like it's good. But if you look at the individual stats of the centermen on the Leafs, all of their percentages are above 52%. Like, I think I don't know what's on my head, but I think like Tavares is like 56. I think Matthews is 54. Comp is maybe 52. Like they're all above that 52 marker, if not right in around there. So I wouldn't consider that a win. I want not like last week when they're putting up 65%. Like
it's just average at that point.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it is like that is their average. That was not a good game. That was an average game for them
against a team who's played 3 games in 4 nights on the second half of a back-to-back.
Yes,
it's not good enough.
But the other thing, though, too, is when you look at the Sharks, though, when you do line up against Logan Couture and Thomas Hertl, you're not going against slouches in the faceoff dot, so you're going to get a little bit more of a pushback in that sense. The Sharks have normally been a pretty solid team on the faceoff dot, so you're going to see a bit of more of an average night when you're going up against guys like that.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, they're still a tired team, though. Yeah, I think they could have done better. I think they could have came out hotter. I mean, it was a good first period. That's about it. A couple nice goals, but that's about it. What about the Penguins game, Chase?
Well, everyone knows I am not a Leafs fan, so I was getting one heck of a good chuckle because I was watching the Avs game, but I kept flipping back and forth because I kept getting alerts to my phone and people texting me saying they can't believe this. So I watched some of it, but then I went through like the full highlight pack today, and the Leafs didn't look good whatsoever. Campbell didn't look bad. The first goal was tipped. The second one Campbell should have had.
Mm-hmm.
But then the third, fourth, and even the fifth, I'm not going to blame him. The third and fourth were either tipped or they were nicked off a defense in a skater's shin. And then the fifth goal, they let, I believe it was Pedersen, come right down the middle, and no one picked up the trailer. So you're leaving a guy that's wide open in the slot for a goalie who now has got to play almost a 3-on-2, so he can't cheat. He's got to respect whoever's got the puck. And it just went through. And then Hutchinson, everyone's going to ride him hard on this one. But the final goal, he was screened, didn't see it.
Yeah.
And then you can't expect a backup goalie to come in a third period, ice cold, and then have to be thrown into that fire. And like maybe that 6-1 was a little weak.
Yes.
That goal was weak. Anything that night.
Yeah.
So
it's not like the team in front of him was doing anything.
Nothing.
No,
they were
exactly.
dead.
There's no support. But like when we break down the stats of this game, like outshot 33-29, so it doesn't sound too bad. Mm-hmm. When you watch the play, the Penguins are carrying it. They have the possession. They're using the cycle very well. They're getting higher scoring chances or higher percentage shots, and where the Leafs are taking them from the outside and it's not working out. They went 0 for 3 again on the power play, killed off 4 of 5 on the penalty kill, but this is what really hurts, especially for a team like Toronto. They were 36% in the face-off dot. You cannot have that. Barris won 4, Camp won 7, Spezza won 4, and Matthews won 6. Those guys should be near 10, if not over 10 face-offs.
Chase, they should have gone all face-off wins. They're playing a team. They were playing against a team that had their 4th string centerman as their main guy.
Yeah, let's let everybody let's remind everybody, who are they missing here? Crosby.
So they were missing.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Crosby. They were missing Crosby, Malkin, Tang, Carter, and Rust.
Yes.
So those are 5 major players for the Pens on the power play, penalty kill, and just even strength 5-on-5.
Inexcusable lost.
I heard something today. I want to bring it up.
Fucking bullshit.
It's about like the locker room, and it's about what the team stands for and who they are and what the environment is. Because you look at the Leafs environment, especially in that game, right? Like, look at last week, the first 4 games. Look how good they were in the face-offs. Now you're going up against a team that doesn't have any centermen, and they won. What was it? 36%.
36% of the draws.
36% against a team with no centermen.
Don't we have 2 centermen making $11 million? Oh,
Like,
that's great. That's great.
Should be able to win a couple.
Money well spent.
And so when you look at the environment of the team, and who they are, like you're looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have Sidney Crosby, who
not that nice.
We all know him. He's probably the best player of this generation. Connor McDavid's name is up there as well, but Sidney Crosby, he has a drive to win. He's won how many Stanley Cups, gold medals. Like, when this guy plays, he wins. And that's the environment that he has on his team. And it showed up in this game. Even though he wasn't in this game, look how the team performed. Like, they were there to play. They were there to win. The Maple Leafs walked into this game as if they didn't care. It was almost as if like they were just showing up on a Saturday night men's league game. Like, there was no effort put into this game.
I've seen you guys play hockey before, and you have more emotion going to play house league.
Yeah, like Bunting had a good chance in the first period. Like, I think it was near the end of the first period. He did have a good chance. I like to see that out of him. And Chase, I agree with you completely. Campbell, you you can't blame him on the
7.
first goal. Absolutely. You
think-
can't blame him on the
I think you're thinking other way
fourth
around.
goal.
Wait.
What?
Oh, You're thinking Campbell. Campbell. Sorry. I'm
Yeah.
thinking Hutchinson.
Campbell, yeah. No, Campbell, the first goal, it hit O'Connor's side when
Yep.
the third goal was a redirected puck that completely changed directions on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can't blame him.
The fourth goal was a redirected puck off of, I
Muzzin.
believe it was
Muzzin.
Muzzin's
Muzzin.
skate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive redirection.
Yeah, like, and so was the third goal too. Like, it wasn't like just a little to the left. Like, it was a completely different angle. And then the fifth goal they let by. I mean, by this point you're already down 4-1. The team just gave up. No one tried, and it looked like they didn't try either. Like
They
he
gave
slid
up.
over. He put his arm up or his glove up maybe, and it was as if he was just going through the motions of just sliding across. It didn't look like that hard of a shot on net. It wasn't the easiest save for him to make, but at that point they're down 4-1 and nobody's giving an effort. They threw it on net, put it high, and they got a goal on it. And it just
The
looked
only
like
thing I can the only thing I can say about that fifth goal is being a goalie myself is I would like to see Campbell come out just a little bit further from the net, but at the same time too, when the puck's going that low, he's got to go towards that post, and when they kind of go back on a diagonal up towards that slot, it's an awkward move to get your body squared and that high.
It is.
So
it is. I'm not saying it was an easy. I'm not saying it was an easy goal for him to get. I just watching it, it looked like he was going through the motions.
Yeah.
Like it didn't look like he was putting full effort in. Like Kerfoot just let his guy skate right by him.
Yeah.
Just on Muzzin's. Like the whole team just looked like they weren't there. They were playing their position. They were on the ice, but they weren't playing to win. And that's I don't know. That's what I thought. And like even the sixth and seventh goal. Yeah, Hutchinson was kind of screened there on the seventh goal, but the shooter was wide open.
Oh, yeah.
No one
Yeah.
Same for the sixth goal. The shooter was wide open, no coverage. Like I said, the team was on the ice, but they weren't actually doing anything.
No.
So
You know what it
Whereas-
reminded me of? I'm a huge South Park fan, and I know you guys aren't really. I think you've seen a couple episodes, but there's an episode called Stanley's Cup where Stan, the kid, he's teaching a peewee hockey team, and the one kid ends up getting cancer and stuff. So he's like promises the kid we're gonna win. So they go to the championship game. And then the team doesn't show up. He's like, "Oh, do we win by default?" No. We have another team that'll play against you. They have to play the New York Rangers, and they have 5-year-olds playing, and it's just a compilation of the kids being like body checked into the boards, and the score is like 50-something to nothing, and the kids are like on the ice dead, and it's just that's how this is what this game looked like to me. It looked like Timbits hockey players playing against actual athletes.
it did. Like
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah, that's what it was. They gave up at 2-1. Like say whatever you want about the redirections. Yes, like that Muzzin one, there's no chance. Like that happens. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
You lost 7-1. You blame redirections all you want. You don't lose 7-1 because of redirections. And
No.
they
Not
gave
at
up
all.
far before 7-1.
Yes.
And it's like you said, James. They came in thinking, it's Saturday. Like, I'll play a couple shifts of hockey. Why not? No.
That's how it's.
Before I get into my stuff, I have I took this quote from Steve Dangle, one of his LFRs. He brought this up. It's from Jake Muzzin. And he put this up after this game. This is Jake Muzzin. We need to take a look in the mirror. We have to be better. That's unacceptable. We have to find the urgency, the passion, the love of the game, the love to compete for each other. All that needs to come. I don't know why it's not there. Now, before I say anything about this quote, how do you feel about that?
I don't know. Like they're saying all the right words.
Yeah. Can I tell you something that's really, really sad? and very, very frightening.
What?
This is from last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a quote from last year.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
so all the people saying, "Oh, it's game 8, it's game this." It's also year 5, and this has been a ongoing problem the entire time. Them coming to
Yeah.
play games and not giving a single shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. They never play a full game ever. And it's cost them playoff games. It's cost them regular season games. We were talking about it before the podcast. Oh, it's game 8. Yeah, you know what? Blue Jays just lost out of the playoffs by 1 game. And this massive, massive issue, we're not coming up playing games. We don't know why we're not trying in these games. They're saying we're not trying these games. I don't know why. It's been an issue for years. Game 8, my ass.
I completely agree. You know what? I'm gonna fight both. It is still early in the season. Yet, I agree with what you said. Every game matters. And look at the Blue Jays. They missed the playoffs by 1 game. Like, it is early. We're trying to figure it out, but every game matters.
And we've seen it already. Tampa, you know Tampa, they're good. They're going to make the playoffs. Florida is a fucking juggernaut right now. Boston's always good. If the Leafs keep playing like this,
I know. I agree.
Right? Like, it's... And even if they make it in, what are they... They're going to phone it in the first round again? Whoop.
No, I know. I totally agree.
All right. I haven't even started talking about the game. So I'll start again. Positives. I like Spezza's goal.
Start with the positives first.
I like Spezza's goal. It was a good goal. Sandin had a really good hit on Jake Gensel. Did you see that hit?
I did see that in the highlight packet. It was solid.
It was a pretty for a guy that's been
getting better.
Yeah, for a guy that's been needing to put on some weight and some grit. It was a good hit. The first period itself was like a decent period. They came on time, which they don't normally do. But then they left the building.
Yeah, in the words of Letterkenny, sometimes you just get speed bagged, and that 7-1 loss, that is the definition of getting speed bagged.
Yeah. I mean, James knows what I've been talking to you guys about this all week. So if he misses a couple of my points, it doesn't matter. Chase, I don't know if you saw it, but this one thing that really pissed me off was, I think it was the second period, Tristan Jarry fucking has the puck in the net, passes it, I don't know who it was, but all the way to the Leafs blue line, through traffic, nobody stops the puck, and he gets it and has a breakaway. That can't happen. That cannot happen.
Oh, to be honest, though, for being a goalie myself, that can be a lot of luck, because if you can get it just high enough off the ice,
it was on the ice. It didn't leave. It was the Leafs split open like the freaking Red Sea. It was that's unbelievable. Like
that's way more common, because a lot of goalies will go up the sideboards or off the glass. So
down the middle.
But then they split off, so then that leaves an open lane for the goalie to go. I've done it several times in myself. Granted, though, I'm not a great, I think I'm a great puck player. I know I'm not, but it can work if you start doing one thing that all the time. Go to the boards, go to the boards, go to the boards. Then the third, fourth, fifth time you hit the puck, you can go up the middle because everyone peels off.
Apparently, his teammate knew where to be. Like,
yes,
damn.
Fair.
But okay, Hutch. That 6th goal was pretty brutal. The 7th, it was a redirection, whatever. Or sorry, he was screened, but he came in, and I said it already. The team looked like absolute ass in front of him. I'm not going to rag on Hutch for that game. That's just not fair to him.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
The Leafs during the 3rd period were falling down randomly. I saw Matthews just falling, Marner just falling, Dermott just falling, Muzzin just falling, all over, like the whole 3rd period. It looked like they were drunk. It was horrible. Simmons fighting Brian Boyle at 7-1. Why?
Pointless. It was
why?
It was pointless.
And he got knocked out in one hit. They got friggin' Saitama.
It was not needed.
You got friggin' Saitama from One Punch Man, just knocked him out in one shot. Like, okay, dude, great, good job. That really got the team going. At 7-1, why bother getting the team going and getting your face punched in? It makes no sense. None.
There's no point.
Yeah.
It was a waste.
It was probably just out of frustration.
But
be completely honest.
it's stupid, especially for a guy who had a wrist injury or was it hand or wrist?
It was wrist. I believe.
Wrist. Yeah.
It was wrist and forearm.
Yeah, broke his wrist last year. Why would you? Why would you risk it against Brian Boyle? He's a fighter. Again, Campbell let in a couple of softies and some redirections. He didn't have a great game. I'm not putting the whole game on him. I'm blaming the friggin' forwards and defensemen. That Dermott Hall, the Hall Muzzin pairing. Jesus. Is Muzz? We'll talk about it when we get to tonight's game. Is Muzz even like is Muzzin been fighting an injury? Because he has been playing awful. He's slow.
I don't know what's going on with Muzz, and I agree with you. He looks like he could potentially be injured playing through it, but he has dropped off, and Marner, Matthews, Tavares have dropped off as well. They're gonna bounce back. We're gonna see the All-Stars.
Yeah.
I don't know if Muzzin is gonna bounce back to where he was last year or the year prior. Like I think he will get better than he is right now. However, I don't think we're gonna see the same Muzzin that the Leafs signed originally.
And again, so we're losing depth players, and our guys that are signed long term are not playing as they should be. We're a worse team than we were last year. I got two more quick points if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, very well.
So Keefe started the fourth line in the third period. That's a little telling. I think he's fed up. And the last thing's a quote from Sid Sixero, talking about the team. It's crazy how much these guys don't play for each other.
They all play for themselves?
Yeah. It's not team mentality. No.
No, I would agree with that.
Yeah. That's all I got for a game 6. Not great, but don't worry. They learn. I don't have direct quotes for this one, but Keefe and Marner saying he's not worried about the team play. A lot of we're learning lessons. So how did the next game go? Because from all these lessons,
I think he made that comment after the Carolina game.
Okay.
Yeah, it was after the Carolina game where
Yes.
he said, "I think we've learned some lessons. I'm not worried." That was after Carolina's loss.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, they lost against Carolina. 4-1. They again, weirdly enough, the last 3 games that they lost terribly, they had a decent start, which is the opposite of what they normally do. Right?
Yes.
But they did the first period, and I thought it was a good first period, to be completely honest. Matthews gets his 200th goal against Freddie Anderson, which is kind of funny. Bunting, my boy, gets another assist. Thank you for my fantasy hockey league. And I thought it was a good first period. Campbell, the whole game played great. But that's where it ends. Campbell, if it wasn't for Campbell, he kept him in this game 100%. It would have been another 7-1 loss. Honestly, it was terrible. Carolina in the second period scored 2 goals in 3 minutes. I think it might have been less. The whole team just looks slow. Again, I have in my notes, Muzzin looks injured. He looks slow. And Marner's getting sidestepped hard. There was a sequence where Marner got sidestepped by 3 different Hurricanes that led right to a goal. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It was brutal.
Yeah, he's not playing well.
No, he again at this point. But at Game 7, he still only had the 1 secondary assist, which he was on the bench for. So essentially a non-point. It's like a mercy point at that point. He's been awful. I think he should take some time off, kind of like Carey Price style. Go to take a month off for mental health.
See, I have a different opinion. I was on to Chase about this earlier today. I think they put Marner on the third line with Spezza. Let him play on an easier line. Let him play against easier lines on the opposing team, Spets is putting up points this year. Like,
Yeah,
whatever he's doing, he's doing well.
Oh, I love
His
him.
lines are doing well. Put Marner on an easier line. Give him a little bit less ice time, but let him play on a line that's producing. Let him get his confidence back up. Then let's bring him back up to the first line. He needs a reset button, and I don't think taking time off is it. I think he needs to build confidence. The only way he's going to do that is by producing on the ice. And I think, personally, drop him down to the third line.
Yeah, I could also.
Like,
I could also
what good is it? We're 8 games in now. He's got 1 assist, 0 goals.
secondary
Well,
assist.
Well, he's got 2 after tonight.
2 after
Yeah.
tonight.
Yes. So sorry. So he's got 2 points in 8 games.
$11 million.
Buddy, like you're not. He's not going to get his confidence back just like that by playing on the first line. Something's going to have to happen. He's going to have to get a goal. He's going to have a couple really good games and some really, really strong shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the way he can do that is not to play against other teams' top lines. And you know what? Take him off the power play.
Absolutely take him off the power play.
Because every time he's been on that power play, even in the games like this past week, he'll get the puck and he doesn't do anything with it. Like as soon as he gets it, he passes it away. In tonight's game, you really saw it. He had it and he Matthews, expecting Matthews to be in one spot, and he wasn't, and he missed him by 10 feet. Like,
Yeah.
he had a couple shooting opportunities in that Hurricanes game, and he took none of them.
We said this last week. You cannot have an $11 million player dependent on other $11 million players.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's what he is.
Correct.
That's what he is.
But the other thing, though, too, Marner has been a playmaker, so he's more of a pass-first kind of player.
But the problem is, playmaker's great, but if you are on a breakaway and the fact that you have no one to pass to makes you panic and pump on the brakes, that is, I don't even know what to call that. Like, a playmaker is a guy who goes primarily for assists, but you're a NHL caliber winger, so you should be able to shoot the puck. He's terrified of shooting that puck. We saw it today.
I think he needs to change the scenery.
I do too.
I think they need to move him so that way he can start fresh, get out of that media, because the media is the issue for a lot of players that go to Toronto, Montreal, New York, sometimes Boston. Like those big, either the big teams, the big original 6, the media can get in and it can destroy a player's development. And I think that's what it's starting to get to Marner. But I do agree with James, drop him to the third line, but I wouldn't take him off the power play completely.
Second.
I'd move him to the second unit so that way he's at least got like 30 seconds. Because if you remove him from power play completely, that's not going to help his confidence either. Because now you're saying, I don't trust you at all. So now you're sitting on the bench when you need to be out there at some point.
Nope. I agree with James. Prove yourself.
The second power play line is better than the first.
It is. So why put Marner on there?
By weakening it and putting on Marner at this point.
Yeah, because he's just going to sit there and he's like, I don't know where Matthews is. I don't know what to do.
I think Marner can turn it on and have a stellar year still.
He could. But
I agree.
His play has not shown that. And it's not like, oh, he's snake bitten. The puck's just not going in the net. No, he's playing like shit.
Correct.
There's a very big difference between being snake bitten and just playing garbage.
But when you have a guy like him, who has, it's not a hidden fact that he's got an ego. But the minute if you're going to move him to the third line, that's going to hit him a little bit, which you kind of want. But if you take him off the power play completely, he's going to shut down right then and there. He will, and then you're going to get you can.
He can't get worse than what he is now.
You can easily get worse than that. You see, he won't even. There'll be zero back check, like zero effort.
There is.
He will nail it in so bad that you'll have to take him right out of the lineup.
I want to do that now.
No, you can't.
If you're gonna do that, you're better off just trading him.
No, I want to do that, but because it's like you said, it's a mental health thing.
It's not a mental health thing; it's a confidence thing.
I think it's a mental health thing too. Not
every player that goes through slumps like this is mental health.
I'm I've got no sympathy for the guy. Like you say, Toronto. Everyone says Toronto media. You know, if he didn't want to be a greedy little shit and he took $8 million like he should have, everyone would have been like, he's just having a rough time. If you want to be, you want to be paid.
Brandon, people wouldn't have said, "Oh, he's just having a rough time."
They'd be bad. They wouldn't be as bad as they are now. They wouldn't be as bad as they are now.
I disagree.
He's the second highest paid winger in the league, and he's playing like dog shit. If he's getting $8 million, at least he's like at the level where more people are, and he took a discount, and everyone's a little bit more accepting of that. But like for what he's being paid, and the fact that we're in such a cap hell right now, everyone's just like, no, it's inexcusable. I don't give a shit about you're sad.
I do agree it's inexcusable.
It's inexcusable. I think I hate the whole. Oh, he's having a rough time. Blah blah blah. It's the Toronto media. I'm like, yeah, the Toronto media also. You use him and his agent use the Toronto media to get the extra money. So you know what? Screw you. Produce.
I'm think he got extra money.
Yeah,
I think he got less than what he was asking.
No. Are you kidding? No, there's no way he couldn't. Well, he wasn't going to get paid more than Matthews.
No.
He wasn't going to be the top paid winger in the league. I think
he wanted what Matthews wanted, or what Matthews got. Well, I don't think he got that.
No, Dubas originally offered him 9 over 8, and now he got 11 because his agent kept going on saying, Marner this and Marner that, and I'm not going to let him play. He's going to stop playing. So his agent used the Toronto media to get him his money. So everyone's saying, Toronto media is making him sad. I don't give a shit. You used it to get all your money, so put up the numbers or get the fuck out. I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. Just produce or don't produce.
What's going to happen? He's going to leave the Leafs with his $10.9 million with another team.
Probably play great.
And he's going to make the Leafs look stupid.
Probably.
Not probably. He will. He is maybe not an $11 million player. He's easily a $10 million player. He was number 5 for points last year.
Yeah, he was.
He is an incredible player who is in a really bad slump right now and needs to get out of it.
Yeah, he's in a very bad slump, and the team. You know what? He could turn around, but the thing is. This team, I don't think it's the coaching, a little bit the coaching. Dubas has given them everything they need. It's in the dressing room. And so I don't know what the problem in the dressing room is, but it's not the fourth line left winger. You need to change something big, or they're just going to or they're just going to go in again the next game and skate around like Timbits hockey players and then say, we learned something today. Every single game. You either change something drastic or it's just going to be the same. And guess what? The window is almost closed because Nylander's done in 2 more years. Well, 2 years after this. Matthews has done 2 more years after this. Tavares has got like 3 more years, but he's degrading. Muzzin's not playing as well as he was. Riley's gone after this year. We don't have Hyman.
No, I agree with you. But you can't turn around and say get rid of the guy mid-season because it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen mid-season. It's definitely not. I'm thinking more like trade deadline. I'm thinking trade deadline when they're almost out of the playoffs.
No, they will not. Dubas will not Marner.
No, they won't because he's gonna ride him until he gets fired. Because he's put his job on the line, and
they need to build his confidence. That's what they need to do. The Maple Leaf organization needs to build Marner's confidence back to the point where he put up 94 points in an 82-game season. He needs to get back to that level. Will he do that this year? No, not when you're 8 games behind the ball.
And the season's done.
No, it's not done. The season's not done, Brandon. We're 8 games in.
I'm saying the whole win the cup thing is not happening this year. And if it doesn't happen this year, it's not happening.
I would say that's probably accurate. Yes.
That's what I mean. I'm not saying, we're going to be terrible. We're going to win 20 games the whole year. No, the Leafs are still a good enough team that they could make the playoffs probably. I still think that they might not. There's a chance, but most likely they'll make the playoffs. Are they getting past the first round? I don't fucking think so. Are they winning the cup? Not a chance in hell the way they're playing. And
I think they're still finishing top of their division.
okay, James, let's say they finish second and they get into the first
Top,
round.
top two.
Say they get to top 2. Are they getting past the first round in playoff hockey against an American team?
Probably not.
So what do you do here then? Because of this whole it's early. They're not going to trade Marner. He's going to get back into it. The team itself needs to get a shakeup.
Yes. Right now, the Leafs are not making the Stanley Cup.
No.
The way they're playing in the first 8 games of an 82-game season, they are not making the playoffs the way they are playing.
But here's the thing. It's 8 games in. I'm going to say this one more time. It's the same problems they've had. I had that Jake Muzzin quote from last year. The same exact problems for years. Have they done anything to change it?
Right now, no.
Can they change it before the playoffs without doing a major change?
Probably not. Realistically,
no. Unless they make a major acquisition, there's no changing this locker room. It's in the locker room. It's not the coaching. We already did Mike Babcock. And guess what? With Mike Babcock, the same problems. Some additional problems, to be fair. But
50 on that. I am 50-50 on that.
But I'm saying the problem at Mike Babcock, they were still having the not starting on time, playing 10 minutes in the third and thinking that was good enough. Defensively, they were a lot better than they were. Hands down. Our defense is much better. But
they were last year.
Yeah, they were last year. Not this year.
I wouldn't say they are this year.
So that's where I'm getting at. It's 8 games in. I know. But they've had the same problems year after year after year. They literally can't do anything to change it unless they do a massive shakeup. So everyone's like, oh, yeah, they can still make the playoffs. Cool. They're not going to do anything in the playoffs because of how they play. And because we're losing Riley, we're losing this guy. Muzzin's not playing right. People are injured. Campbell's going to be up this year too. Are we keeping Campbell? I don't know. He's only making $1.5 million. So they're going to not win this year and then get progressively worse for the next 2. And then you have Nylander and Marner who are up for contracts.
Yeah.
Congratulations, but don't worry. It's only game 8.
It is only game 8, Brandon.
Yeah.
It's only game 8.
It's only game 8.
Go back to 2019 with the St. Louis Blues. Mm-hmm. Last place, January 1st. Where are they in June? They're hoisting the Stanley Cup in Boston. It's only game 8. Fans have to relax.
I agree.
The minute the Leafs go on a 5-game win streak, the parade is being planned again, and everyone's back on the bandwagon saying, we won. The minute they lose, oh, well, the Leafs lost.
Start throwing jerseys on the ice.
I'm going to be, I don't agree with the whole throwing the jersey on the ice. Like, I'm not that guy.
That guy should be banned.
Oh yeah,
from the
I think they did it last time that happened. I think they banned him from the arena, right?
Was it for the jersey or I think someone threw a beer can on the ice.
I think it was both.
Was it both? Yeah.
I know there was a MLB game a couple years ago. Someone threw a beer can on the field. They got banned.
Oh, is that what it was?
No,
yeah, okay,
the beer can that hit the baby. Do you remember that?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Do you remember that, Chase?
No.
It was a couple years ago. It was a MLB game. A guy threw a beer can and hit someone. Someone was holding their baby and hit the baby.
I don't remember that happening.
Oh, I gotta find that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got banned.
No kidding. No kidding. All right, let's move on to today's game.
Chase, you want to take her away?
Well, for today, from what I saw and what I was able to break down and kind of observe throughout the entire game, I didn't really think one team really had a stranglehold on the actual pace of play. There was moments where Toronto had possession and they looked great. There was moments Chicago had possession, they looked great, but both teams they're both in a spot where they're still trying to figure out their identity, so you're having defensive breakdowns on both ends. The one thing that I can take from that game, if it wasn't for Campbell, Chicago would have won that game in the third period or in overtime. He made some key clutch saves coming cross crease, and that was able to allow Toronto to stay in, to really kind of work towards that overtime, and a beautiful goal by Nylander on the breakaway.
Nice.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of patience and confidence to make that little shift to open up the 5-hole. That doesn't open up too much for an NHL goalie, and to be able to just to know it, okay, I can slide it through and it's going to go in. Kudos to him. But they did outshoot the Hawks 39-29. Once again, they were 0 for 3 on the power play. After tonight, they are, I think we saw they were 28th or 29th in the league with a 12% power play.
Oh my god!
When you have that much firepower, you should not be
Yeah.
that low.
So
I can't say anything. Being a Colorado fan, Colorado's 9%.
Oh wow! What?
They are struggling hard. Got to remember though, for the first few games, there was no McKinnon, no Landeskog.
They're
They
missing half the roster.
Okay.
Yeah, we were
all
missing
right.
half our roster due to injury and COVID. But still, like their
Jeez.
power play has been useless so far. But once again, at least they killed 2 of 3 on the penalty kill, which is that.
The penalty
you
kill's
can-
solid.
You can kill over at least 50% in an individual game. You're doing an unbelievable job in that moment. Obviously, like 100%, but sometimes that can't happen. But now they're back to being a little bit more themselves. They finished at 58.2% in the face-off dot.
It's a little better.
That is a little bit more like we saw in that first week.
Yep.
They were taking advantage of the lack of depth in the Chicago center ice position.
Yep.
They have a lot of good young centers coming up, like Kirby Dotch, Mackenzie Entwistle, but they're still not seasoned enough to go up against guys like Matthews, Tavares, Spezza, Kampf. Even if you throw in Kerfoot for a draw, he's a little more seasoned. So they had the advantage going into the game. It's just, again, their defensive breakdowns are causing them some big time goals that are forcing the fight from behind, and that's not a place where the Leafs are confident from. They're used to being able to score the goals and getting in front of everybody.
And they've only scored the first goal twice this year.
Yeah.
Out of 8 games.
Yeah, and they, by not being at this game, they allowed Chicago to end their drought.
It's just such a Leafs
Right?
thing.
Was it 366 minutes, I think?
Yeah,
360.
6 games without having a lead.
I told my dad.
300.
I told my dad. He's like, should I bet on Chicago to score a goal first? That's silly, right? I'm like, Dad, it's the Leafs.
The Leafs.
Bet on Chicago to score first. It's the Leafs playing a team with an NHL losing streak, like franchise historical thing. Of course they're gonna score first.
Yeah, I read a tweet. It was either today or yesterday. And it said, "Don't worry, Chicago fans. You're playing the Leafs. Your drought will end." Yeah, and it did. Like I was in the car at the time, turned on the radio, and boom, goal happened within a minute of me radio on. Like it's I don't even know what to say. Like I expected it. It's bad to say that. Like with this game starting, I expected Chicago to come out with. Like that was my expectation, and when they scored, I was not surprised, or I wasn't even upset.
No, you're still
Yep. This is what I expected out of this team.
Yeah, I expected them to lose. I was surprised that they won. Very surprised.
I didn't expect a loss necessarily. You know what? I will say I expected what we saw. A tight game that came down to I wasn't going to predict overtime, but I figured it was going to be a 1-goal game that Chicago would come out to the lead with, which is exactly what we saw here. The one thing I do want to say is in the second period, it was on a power play. There was a play where, I think it was on a power play, the puck went behind the net. Matthews skated in. He was the first player behind the net to get the puck. He tossed it around to Martin and took a hit from behind into the boards. It was a clean hit, no penalty on it or anything. But it's the kind of play that we wouldn't have seen from him if Hyman was on the team.
Yeah.
I know where everyone's missing Hyman right now.
Oh
And I just want to touch on that point. It's the kind of play that if Hyman was there, Matthews would have stayed back, and he would let Hyman go in, risk the body, and he would have sat back waiting for it. And this is the one thing I touched on the very beginning was without Hyman here, the other guys are going to have to step up. And in that play, Matthews did. He went in, puck, won the battle, and he ate the boards face first, essentially. Got the puck around the Marner, and they actually got a shot on net that play. So that is the one thing that I did want to touch on about the. And in the third period, well, there's two questions. A, could that player, I don't know who it was, could he have avoided Campbell? Yes or no? What's your opinion? When he ran him 6 feet through the net.
I don't.
Could he have laid off and hooked to the right quickly and gone around the net?
I think he could have, but the one player was kind of in the way.
I think it was Dermott. I don't know for sure.
I don't think he was pushed, but the leaf
he
there
wasn't pushed.
No, but the leaf there was definitely in the way of him going around.
He was in the way of him going around to the left, which would have caused him to cut in front of the net. He could have gotten the shot off and gone to the right of the net. But instead, he got the shot off, couldn't go left, so he went straight into Campbell. So, I love the fact that Campbell took a swing at him.
I like that, man.
I gotta love that. But the concerning thing to me was the Muzzin in the third period going down hard. I think it was the Leafs back left corner. Wasn't a dirty hit. I don't think he really got hit. He just down to the weird corner. Yeah, and he was slow to the ice, like slow to his feet. Kind of hobbled his way over in the net because the play kept going. Didn't move much. Once the puck got out of the zone, he hobbled over, hunched over to the bench. And I can't say, I don't know for sure, but I can't say I saw him play the rest of that game. Like the couple times that I paid attention and looked for him, I didn't see him on the ice. So I don't know if we'll hear something tonight or maybe tomorrow something will come out about an injury, but I've got a feeling that we'll be losing Muzzin as of tomorrow.
Because when you messaged that in the group chat about the hit, I swore I saw him a little after, but then after that, I didn't see him for overtime, and I didn't see him for at least the last 10 minutes of that third period. So
and it would have happened like the hit happened in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, like I thought I saw
but
I thought I saw him do one shift, and that's maybe I saw him do one shift.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw him after that hit. Maybe
I
once,
don't.
I might have been wrong about that.
Really even notice Muzzin at all during that game, so
no. I think, like I said earlier, I think he's been playing injured, and maybe that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak.
But this whole thing, it could have been through an injury within the first 10 games. That's just pure stupidity. Like, sit out, get rested, don't play through anything, so that way it costs you games down the stretch.
Yeah.
Was he, Brandon, remind me, was he injured for the playoffs last year?
Yes.
He was
and before. Oh no!
I knew in the regular season, but I couldn't remember if he was injured for part of the playoffs or not. I don't recall.
I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah, he was.
Pretty sure he missed like the last 4 games.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Yeah, because I know he missed regular season time, but I'm pretty sure he's playing injured during the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, speaking of Hyman, he just scored his 6th of the season.
Hey.
I have an unpopular opinion about Hyman. I think he's overrated.
I do too.
The only reason why he puts up these numbers is look who he's played with. You put him on any other line, he will disappear into the crowd. He won't put up numbers. He's benefiting from playing with Connor McDavid and Jesse Puljujärvi.
Yeah,
like,
but guess
I would be able to put up 6 goals in like 8 games with those two.
But you know why he's up there? Because he plays and tries harder than any other person on the roster every night.
The only reason why he made the NHL was because Daddy's money. So
well, I mean, that's a lot of players in the NHL.
No, but he's just lucky. He played with Marner and Matthews.
I
Of course he's gonna get
I
paid for
refuse
those.
to say I don't think it's luck. You watch him play, he doesn't glide.
He puts the most effort
He
in.
puts more effort than anybody on the team every
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
There's no he doesn't take off nights. And
And,
that's why he's being
and
rewarded.
and that's fine because he's got to do that because doesn't have the skill to be on the
Yeah.
top.
So you know
top
what?
two
He
lines.
tries it harder than everybody else and he's rewarded for it.
I'd rather have that.
Yeah.
When
We're
when you go
missing that.
further back and you talk to anybody that played juniors against him, juniors with him, the only reason he was on those teams was because Daddy paid for him to be there. So the only reason why he got recognition was for that reason.
Well,
Guaranteed, if he was just like any other player, he wouldn't have had that recognition. He wouldn't even be in the league right now.
Well, you know what?
Say
Maybe
what you want.
so those people that played with him, they played with him in those leagues.
Yes.
Guess they didn't play hard enough then. If they didn't make it.
No, they actually were better, but Daddy was the GM, so
or maybe it's
Hyman got the ice time.
or maybe it's like a Marner situation where he's more skilled, but he doesn't put in the effort.
No, trust me, the guys that I know,
I don't know, man. Like
they have heart for Miles.
I'm just saying. I
Hyman
can't
is
say
one
for
of-
them.
I think
I'm just
Hyman's
saying
the most
I watch
overrated
him
player.
play and he plays harder than anybody else. So I don't say that he's lucky because it's hard. It's all hard work. You literally said it's not his skill. It's literally all hard work. That's not luck. A little bit of luck for certain. You get certain things, but he would not have made the NHL if he wasn't working harder than everybody else.
No,
Yes.
I'm not going to go any further than that because his dad bought a scouting department to get him into the top 200 to being scouted in North America. He bought several junior A teams so he could try to even make.
Right. Do you think
the whole term?
so? Do you think like? But then you could say the same thing about players like Max Domi because Ty Domi's his dad. You could say, oh well, you know, if he was just a regular kid, maybe he wouldn't have made the NHL too. Like it's a stupid point. There's so many kids in the NHL that had dads that played in the NHL.
Junior teams in a scouting department.
What?
No,
Ty
he
Domi didn't go out and buy junior teams in a scouting department. All it is Hyman. He is overrated. He should not be making near as what he is. He shouldn't be giving all this accolades. And people shouldn't be sitting there like, oh, well, we would be better with him in the lineup. You would not be better with him in the lineup. You'd be in the exact same boat.
We would be, and we were.
I don't. Okay, both sides of that.
Change the lease enough to make you guys a winning team this year.
I agree with the. Oh no, I agree with that. We definitely not. And I also agree with the cap. He's getting paid more than he should be, especially for the duration. Because the way he takes hits and stuff like that, he's gonna go downhill in a couple years. I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah, he's getting paid a little too much. But I will say, as much as I do think he's overrated, Chase, I disagree that he is a very hardworking player, if not the hardest working player on the ice. He may not have the skill level, and Daddy's money may have helped him get further, but money aside, he's still getting paid a lot of money. 6 goals on the year. He is the hardest working player on the ice when he's on. It takes skill out of it. Hard work is where it comes in. If you don't believe me, look at the Maple Leafs. You have no one working hard, and they're barely squeaking by.
Not even.
Yeah.
Barely squeaking by.
We should finish talking about. This game 8, and then we can. I think our opinions are kind of set on Hyman at this point.
I have nothing else to say about game 8. I mean, bad start.
Again,
Tavares had a beautiful backhanded goal.
Oh yeah, it was a great goal.
And you know had a nice goal.
And you know what? All the bad talk about Marner. It was a good pass through traffic. It was a good pass, good setup.
It was a very good pass by Marner. Comp had his first goal of the season. Quick, like I admired. Yeah. He received the puck and dumped it on. He wasn't trying to score by the looks of it. He was just trying to put the puck on net, which is what we need right in front of the net, and it went in.
That was a good goal.
If he can do it, the rest of the team can too. So just start putting the puck on net from any angle, especially in front of
12 inches off the ice, below the blocker, above the pad. And especially on the backhand, good luck trying to get that.
Yeah. It went higher. I thought it went over the glove or over the blocker.
From the replay I saw, it looked like it went under, but I could be wrong.
I thought it went up and over below the post there.
If that's the case, it's still one hell of a good shot and one hell of a good goal.
And like squeaked it through, not a lot of room there, and then Matthews chipping the puck up to land a breakaway, and like Jay said, just sliding around. It was.
I lost you for a couple seconds there, James. Could you repeat that?
Oh, I was just saying it was a nice goal for time, and Campbell kept them in it there with that big 2-on-1 at the end. So I think all in all, the Blackhawks game wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good.
It wasn't horrible, but it's probably the worst team in the league right now. And they just had the whole debacle. They just lost the GM, and you barely beat them.
Yeah, but I don't think losing the GM.
I meant like a lot of headspace kind of stuff, like right, like I meant more like the debacle surrounding the organization right now, like the cloud sitting over their head kind of thing.
Cluster.
Yeah, it's a clusterfuck, and they still almost beat the Leafs. I still like whatever. I got not much else to talk about that game, but guys, I think
what was that?
I was gonna say, guys, actually, I have one more thing to say, but James, you say what you were gonna say.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna talk about what I was saying earlier, Sheldon Keefe's comment about the Carolina game, and I just want. So before the Carolina game. My confidence gets a boost in this group today after the Carolina game.
After the 4-1 loss.
That game is played at a much higher pace, and we got a real sense of what a Stanley Cup contending team looks and feels like. Our guys had to deal with that all the way through. I think we leave here a better team. This is your first sense of what a Stanley Cup contending team feels like. What? What were all the other games? What about last year? Like, is this the first time you're kind of thinking this is what a cup contending team deals with? Are you?
Yeah. No, so I agree with that part of his statement. That this is what a cup contending team feels like. Because think about it. Last year, what Canadian team outside of the Leafs was a possible cup contending team?
I agree. But the problem comes with this is coming off of losing 7-1 to a team that's essentially an AHL team. And now you're talking about, we played a good cup contending team. You just got your ass handed to you against the AHL team. Maybe worry about that first before talking about cup contending. And second of all, I agree. I think we leave here a better team. Did they start like a better team in that Blackhawks game? Again, against the worst team in the league that they barely beat. Does that look like a better team to you?
Absolutely not. It looks like the same team that first period felt like the same first period against.
Yeah. I keep bringing it up, but we're learning lessons. I'm not worried about our confidence. We have confidence in the team. I don't think we need to change anything about our play. You need to change something in that locker room. That's. I don't know.
I agree.
That's you. It just seems like a bunch of immature people being like, I'm not changing, my way's right. It's kind of like it's the argument we had with Babcock that he's stubborn. And it's the whole bloody team.
But you know what? Okay, so this is one thing I want to talk about. Look at what we were saying when Babcock was coach. Give Matthews more ice time. Give Marner more ice time. Put them together. Put them on the top pairing. Put them on the power play. Now what are we complaining about? Like, we did everything that we were complaining about Babcock, yet we're still not winning this year. So, like, what is the complaint this year? Oh, Marner? No, it's more than one
It's
player.
more than Marner.
It's a whole team atmosphere.
It's the locker room. It's a mentality in the locker room. And that's why, Chase, we talked about it this last week. James and I were on the side of don't fire Sheldon Keefe off the bat. It's something in the locker room. 2 weeks ago we talked about that. We said don't fire Sheldon Keefe. I mean, eventually you could if it's still not working out. Yeah. But you change something in the locker room first because you've done a coach change already, and it's not like you fixed it and have new issues. It's the same issues. What's the common denominator here? The core four.
You can look at the core four, but then also too, you got to look at it in the sense if you're a player in the locker room, because no player wants to see their coach ever fired.
No,
Because they do somewhat take it as a bit personal, because it's like, well, I could have done something better to save their job.
well, typically it's if once they see the coach go, they know I'm next.
Exactly, but this is the thing right now with the way that Dubas has structured the team. He's pretty much made it seem like that core four is untouchable.
Which is a
So
problem.
I think to be honest, right now, I don't necessarily would look at Keefe to be fired first. I think you go Dubas first and work your way down at that point. Because he's the one that's built this team and kept this core four together and made it seem like you guys are it. So we're just going to keep putting pieces around you. So now it gives younger guys like Marner, Matthews, and Nylander, even though we saw Matthews show some fire tonight.
We did.
He was
absolutely
pissed. And it's about time you see that emotion come from him, who's trying to become like a leader of the squad. Mm-hmm. But now it's at the point where in my opinion, you got to get rid of Dubas because you need to shake that team up. So you need to have the balls to make the trade.
Because right now, I totally agree with you. Right now, they know while Dubas is there, they're impenetrable.
And the other move I would make, as much as I know it's more of a locker room thing and not necessarily coaching, I would actually look at moving Keefe out, because if you can do Dubas and Keefe, then you bring a new GM and a new coach in, and that will reset everything from top down. So then the players will have to change the locker room, or they'll know for a fact that they are next.
Do you do that this year in the middle of the year, or do you wait till the next off season?
Something like that, I'd actually wait till the next off season because the Leafs do have some talent. So there is a chance that they can, like, they're too talented to be this bad all year long.
Absolutely. Yes. On sheer talent alone, they should be doing
exactly. Better. And Keefe is not a bad coach. Like, he's got a good system. It's just maybe he's not coaching it necessarily right to the guys in the room, or maybe he's got to adapt a different setting for the players he has, but still keep a better system. But I think at the end of the year, if you still get the same results, I start from the top down. You get rid of the GM, the head coach, and then you look at what you could do, maybe add a few pieces, but then you make it clear going into even preseason game 1 that you have until December 1st to show me what you guys have. If not, I'm making moves. So no one job's safe.
Yeah, because if you do that, say they're out in the first round again this year, right? Out in the first round, I think we agree at least one of Dubas and Keefe is fired. Fair?
I think Dubas, if they don't make it, this is going this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The end of this year.
So say we're in the off season, playoffs, Tampa three-peats. We lose Riley most likely because we have no cap space. Here are your two scenarios. Do you lose Riley and then just do little depth pieces like Dubas has been doing and our defense gets worse? Or do you lose one of the core four, take that money, and either re-sign Riley or sign some at least decent free agents or make even more trades? Because I don't think the way Dubas is doing it, whether they fire him or not next year, you can't go in the same that you are with the same core four minus Riley, because if you keep the core four, there's literally no way you can keep Riley unless the rest of your team is league min players.
Yeah.
So you either keep Riley and lose. It's going to be Marner at this point. Marner or Nylander, and they can't trade Nylander because he's just playing great for his contract. Marner's you're not going to get full price from Marner, but $11 million on your cap in a flat cap era, you kind of need it.
Yes.
So I would rather lose Marner and get two guys for $6 million than keep Marner and be broke again and do the exact same thing. It's more of, Marner's going to go somewhere. He's probably going to put up 90 points again. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's more for changing the locker room, because at this point they think they're impenetrable, and you see that on the ice where they just kind of like, we showed up tonight.
Yeah, and that's what it looks like. They just showed up tonight.
Yeah. And now I love how their big thing was we got to fight for comfortable clothing to get to the ice. If I was Dubas, I would have said like publicly, I will consider changing the dress code when we win a round.
When just win 3 games in a row.
Yeah. No, like the
Well,
fact that they whined to get their casual dress code when they're in a losing streak, that it just shows he's a weak tree. I defended Dubas quite a bit when he was getting like when he signed Muzzin and TJ Brody and stuff like that because those are good moves. Jack Campbell, good moves.
You did not defend.
I defended I hated him because of the contracts, and then he made some good little moves, and then this offseason I didn't at all. But I made some defense to him when he signed Muzzin and Brody and Campbell.
Yeah.
Because those were all good. This offseason, he was shit. Bunting's better than I thought he was going to be. Awesome.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I from this as soon as he started signing his contracts, and you all agree with me, he is terrible at contract negotiations. Absolute terrible.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's the best at.
No.
That's for sure.
The one I thought he really royally screwed up on was that Nylander deal, because like when Nylander signed that contract, he was not coming off a stellar year.
No.
But that contract now,
he worked into it. He definitely worked into it.
Yeah,
that's a great deal. But I don't know. But to kind of just quickly go back to Brand's point, I don't like how their teams are relaxing the dress code.
No, I don't either.
I guess I'm just a purist and old school guy. I like when the guys walk in, they're in their suits, their ties, they're just looking good.
Yes.
I don't want to be like the NBA or the NFL where people come in wearing baggy basketball jerseys or baggy hoodies and shorts and look professional going into the
come in looking like a professional.
Yeah.
I disagree with it. All right, so I think I know everyone's answer. Real quick. Win, lose, or cry this week. What are we all saying? Brandon, hit me with it. Which one?
I'm gonna. It's a cry. It's
Chase.
A cry.
As a non-Leafs fan, it's a good laugh, but just in general, though, as a team thing, it's a week to cry.
I'm gonna go the same thing. This is definitely a cry.
I don't think you can say anything else.
Yeah. All right. I think we've pretty much touched on every. There is one fun little stat that I wanted to share about Mitch Marner. I do think he's going to turn around. I think he is going to turn on it. But did you know, including preseason games, he has not scored in 20 games. He went 2 games last year. The last 2 games of the year, he did not score. He went 7 games in the playoff, 3 games in the preseason, and now 8 games this year without a goal. That's how he's doing.
That's brutal.
Yeah. So not good.
Oh my god.
But what do you do? And I think it comes down to back to it.
Can you repeat that, please?
Back to Sheldon Keefe. What happens to him? Does he last the rest of this year with the team? I know it's only game 8, but at some point, I get the all or nothing. Made it look like, oh yeah, he that cares the most and is doing the right things. But at some point, it is his job to steer this team and to get players on track when they're off and to motivate players who need it. And he is not doing that so far. So if the Leafs stay the way they are, I don't see him staying with the team for the
full year.
For the full year. I think he could be gone before the end of the year. As much as it pains me to say, because I think that at the end of the day, as much as the dressing room doesn't want to listen to him, if the dressing room doesn't want to listen to him, why is he there?
That's fair.
Right? And look what happened with Babcock. The team didn't want to listen to him. No one liked him. They got rid of him. Keefe stepped up, and they went on a winning streak. because they didn't want to listen to him. Now it looks like they're doing the same thing. They're freezing out Keefe. They don't want to listen to him. If he can't get them back on track, it's like, yeah, it is their problem. However, if they're refusing to listen to the players and Dubas is not going to move the players, what do? You have to move the coach.
Yeah, you're gonna move the coach, and then you're gonna have the same thing happen again, and it's
Correct.
It's just a waste of time. You're wasting these guys. You sign these massive contracts, and you're just fucking throwing money into the wind.
Yeah.
Like, we had the same exact problem with the last coach as we do with this coach. It's that the players aren't listening. Could it be the players? No.
No kidding. No
I said this
kidding.
to James earlier today. There's one move I would make just to see if it can light a fire under the team.
And what would that be?
If you let Keith go mid-season because nothing's happening, bring in Torts. Let him run wild in that dressing room and let the players feel what it's like to play for an old school coach that demands performance over anything, so they can sit back and realize, well, we had Keith, who is a best of both worlds between Babcock and Torts. Babcock was more systems based. Torts is just more performance and do however you can. Keith, I find, is a little bit more of an in-between. Like, he's got a good system, but he wants the performance out of it. It's just, I don't know, maybe he just can't get the motivation. Well, I'll tell you what, Torts is able to get fires lit under some people.
Yeah.
So just try it. Nothing can hurt at this moment.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
A lot of time left.
All right. Let's quickly jump to the rest of the league here. We got two big injuries being announced. Well, not so much announced, but Kucherov just got announced having surgery 8 to 10 weeks, which was kind of what we expected. We kind of saw it coming. Now it is confirmed he is having, and he is going to be out that long. And secondly, Doughty is out 6 to 8 weeks with his knee injury. So that's two major injuries coming to the league for big players. But let's talk about this hit on Gerard from Stamkos.
You're just gonna glide over that Doughty thing, eh? You're just putting that behind you, eh, buddy?
It was a knee-on-knee collision. I don't even think there was a penalty called. Was there?
No.
Let's just go to the Stamkos thing.
For those of you who don't know, James loves Drew Doughty.
Let's just talk about the Stamkos thing for a second, because I think it was the first or second we talked about Landeskog getting the 2-game suspension.
Yes.
And then there was the Larkin hit that didn't receive a suspension for the hit from behind into the boards, yet he did receive the suspension for the punch. Yes or no? Does Stamkos deserve some sort of suspension for, I'm not going to say hitting Gerard headfirst into the boards. I'm going to say he gave him a shove headfirst into the boards, because I wouldn't say it was a direct hit, but he definitely did not lay off on it, and he definitely did guide his weight and his towards the boards while Gerard was right there.
Yep. Wilkes, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go?
You go, because you brought this to my attention, so you kind of had your eyes on this first.
I'm a little indifferent on a suspension base on this one. If you're going off of what's been called throughout the league, then yes, it should be a 2-game, should be the exact same thing as Landeskog, but that shows there is a double standard, where since it's the defending champs back-to-back, they're letting them get away with a little bit more. However, and if there's any young hockey players out there that do find this podcast and listen to it, and you do go and look at this hit, one thing Samuel Girard should not have done is he's going on a rush down the sideboards in overtime, and he heard the feet coming, and this is where I'm not a fan of him. He gets scared. He jams the brakes to curl back, but when he does it, he's turning his numbers to a Stamkos that's coming downhill, full speed, and you're putting yourself in that vulnerable position. However, Stamkos had some space he could have pulled up, or maybe gone more of a pin or a wrap along the boards. But when you jam your brakes on like that and you turn because you hear the footsteps, just because you turn the numbers doesn't mean the player can stop. So if you look at, as I said, if you go back to look at the Landeskog hit, yes, it deserves the same suspension as Landy received for the boarding, but at the same time too, Girard is putting himself in a very vulnerable position by turning away from the hit face first into the boards and not moving the puck away from, or doing the easiest move is keep going down to the corner, get the puck slow, so that way you can keep the puck deep, but also too you're not putting yourself in a vulnerable position.
Yeah. Brandon, what do you think?
I do think it's a suspension, but Chase is completely right here. Stamkos is in the wrong because if you watch the hit, and we watched it a couple times before the show, Chase was able to find it, and I was able to watch it on a repeat a couple times. Girard, like, there's the whole Stamkos did hit him in the numbers, head first into the boards. That's pretty fair to say he did that.
That's a suspension.
That's a suspension.
Yeah. That right there. I don't care if he turned, I don't care if he pivoted. I don't care if the hit that Landeskog made, the other guy was down on his knee. You push someone head first into the boards, you get a suspension.
Exactly. And the whole, yes, he turned, and he did a stupid thing. But if you watch it, Stamkos doesn't follow through with the hit until he's already turned. So he saw that he had turned, and then he hit him. So it's not like he was already in the follow through with his arms pushed out, and then Girard turned. They're skating side by side, or you know what I mean. Girard turns to his numbers to Stamkos, and then he extends and pushes him.
Yeah.
So there was no avoidance. He threw the hit after he had already turned, straight into the back of the numbers. Girard was stupid to do that. That's still a suspension on. That's still a suspendable hit.
And I think I'm just a little bit more, I guess, sour with Girard in the sense because there's multiple plays where he does that. Either he turns away, and it's a giveaway, or he pulls up and makes a bad pass. I understand you're small, like you're a smaller defenseman, and you're there to be a puck mover, and you're there to just be shifty. But there's time and place where you have to learn. Like, the more that you avoid the hit, or you tense up before it comes, the more it's going to hurt, or the more it's going to affect your game down the road. If you look at a defenseman like Torrey Krug, who's roughly about the same height, same size, the guy runs into corners hoping to hit someone or hoping to get hit because he wants to make the play. So there's two different defensemen that are the same, kind of the same player, but one is more adapted to the way the NHL plays, and one's still kind of figuring out what he needs to do. And it frustrates me being an Avs fan, but I understand, like, the minute the numbers are shown for any hockey player out there, if you can at any point pull up as quick as you can. If you need to wrap the player up, take a holding penalty or tackle him, but don't hit him into the boards.
No, just run him over, put him flat on the ground.
Yeah.
But
not to the boards.
Right. I think before we wrap up here, I think there's one thing we got to touch real quick, and that is the Chicago Blackhawks. I know we talked about them and their gaming. The amount of stuff that's going on. A fine 2 million.
Hey, buddy, your mic is cutting out quite a bit. Would you mind if either Chase or I handles it, just until we kind of figure that out?
Go for it.
Yeah, Chase,
go for it.
Chase, you wanna hit it up?
Yeah, no problem. Just to kind of reiterate what James was saying before the mic cut out, because of the sexual assault allegations and the lawsuit filing that has come about, the investigation has shown that the Chicago Blackhawks have been found $2 million over everything that happened back in 2010. As of today, Kyle Beach, who was a 11th overall draft pick in 2008 for the Chicago Blackhawks, has now come out and identified himself as the John Doe in the case. He wanted to do this because he had heard that Brad Aldrich, who was the video coach at the time in 2012, who did unfortunately sexually assault Beach, had done it to a 16-year-old in Michigan as he was a coach for a high school team. Believe that was back in 2016, if I remember correctly. And when the 16-year-old came out and brought it public, it made Beach really contemplate thinking, what do I have to do? So we wanted to step up and bring this to light. Because of everything that's gone on, Stan Bowman has resigned as the GM and president of hockey operations for the Chicago Blackhawks. He has also resigned from being the GM for the 2022 Olympic U.S. Team.
I didn't see that.
Bill Guerin will be taking over for him, it sounds like. And also two other big names that are still in the NHL right now, Kevin Cheveldayoff, who's the GM for the Winnipeg Jets, and Joel Quenneville, the coach of the Florida Panthers, will be having a meeting with Gary Bettman. Quenneville is tomorrow, or I guess now that it's 12/19, it'd be later today. And Kevin Cheveldayoff will be having his meeting with Bettman on Monday because they were part of the team meeting that Chicago had when Beach brought this to them back in 2010 when he was a black ace for that Stanley Cup run. So there's a lot going on in that organization, and there could still be more coming down. The one question now, too, is a lot of people are asking, should they be stripped of the Stanley Cup from 2010? Should there be an asterisk? I don't know. Like, the NCAA, they would remove them from that title, but what do you guys think?
Interestingly enough, before we get into that, Quenneville was left to coach tonight. They let him coach tonight, which I don't think that's very. I was going to say fair, but I don't think it's very
Ethical.
ethical. Thank you.
Yes.
I don't think that's very ethical to let him do that. Yeah, just I don't think they should have it stripped because you're stripping it from the players, and the players didn't do anything wrong. I don't know. We don't know who knew about it, who didn't bring it up, who didn't. But for the most part, I'm assuming the players didn't know about it, and they played a great game. I would take off the names of those involved from the cup and strip their individual statistics from it. But the team itself, the Chicago Blackhawks, the players, shouldn't be punished for the deeds of some disgusting old pervert.
Yeah, I agree with what Brandon's saying there. The team was the best team that year, and they won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
But I would agree that strip the people involved of the Stanley Cup title.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the team still deserves the cup.
Yeah, and I would tend to agree with you guys on that one. I think going to strip an absolute like a title right away would be going a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just a shame to see because Kyle Beach he was on path to have a good career, and then it was never the same after. There has been some reports on exactly how things went down when everything happened. It got pretty graphic, so I just kind of left it out because no one needs to hear that.
No, we don't need to hear that.
And the fact that the Hawks let that video coach go through the rest of the playoff run, and he actually got to go to this cup celebration. He got his day with the cup, everything like that. To me, that is purely unethical and straight out disgusting.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunately it's a black mark on a great franchise that really rebuilt themselves from about 2008 onward.
Yeah.
And to hear that, especially them going through just some of the internal struggles with trying to get players to get healthy again and rebuild what they had, it's a shame to hear, and especially to Stan Bowman being involved. That's a bad thing to have a Bowman be a part of.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, that $2 million fine, Arizona got fined more for the whole training when they shouldn't have been training thing, didn't they? They got fined $3 million plus draft picks. and these guys are only getting fined $2 million for sexual assault.
What a joke.
Like,
That almost shows a bit of that same double standard when it comes in the NHL. Because the Chicago Blackhawks, original six, when they're a good team, they bring in a crap ton of revenue.
Yeah.
Where Arizona, well,
I don't
that's
have
generally it's just a dumpster fire.
that's disgusting, though.
The league had to give them the money so that they could pay it,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you guys want to finish off on like a slightly more upbeat topic before we're done?
what do you got?
Just Chase, you had a little bit of Jack Eichel news or speculation.
Oh, yes. So came out the last couple days that the Golden Knights are back in on the Eichel trade rumors, and they're trying to make it work. Some people were a little bit curious on how this would happen. However, Vegas does have $6.4 million in cap space, but with the recent injuries to Pacioretty and Alex Tuch, they're both put on the LTIR, which is opening up $5.88 million. So that gives them enough money to bring in Eichel. The only question that would be is what's going to be the return, because Buffalo said they're not retaining salary, and they're looking for a roster player. They're looking for picks, and they're looking for a high-end prospect.
Are they stupid? Are
They're trying to hold the King's ransom for him.
So, because they're terrible at managing players and the team, and terrible at managing assets, they're just gonna make this guy. They're just gonna hold this guy hostage. Can't get surgery. I'm not sure if any of you have had a neck injury before, but you kind of need your neck for everything. So he's probably living in a lot of pain, because I've had neck problems before and hurt my neck, but I've never needed disc replacement. So I can't imagine what he's living through right now. And because of his contract, and because these guys are a bunch of assholes, I'm just gonna say they're a bunch of assholes. Guy can't live a proper life right now. He can't play his sport. He can't get come on, you already suck. Just make the trade. For God's sakes.
This trade is going to help jumpstart a rebuild, when the only way to do a proper rebuild is look at the way Pittsburgh was for a while. Even Toronto, you guys did a pretty good rebuild. Colorado did the same thing. Boston did the same thing. You're going to have to suck for a few years. You can't rush this process.
But the problem is they've sucked for so long, and they had one of the best players. It's just the management is so bad, and you have an internal cap. What do you expect? What does this team expect to do?
Well, when you try to go out and sign a Taylor Hall, thinking, oh God, okay, there we go. We rebuilt. No, you didn't. You just went out and spent more money. You have to pick the right guys. You have to draft. You have to develop. They don't do that. Well, I think you could relocate them, but I think the first team to be relocated is going to be Arizona.
Absolutely. Also, the Buffalo fans are pretty wild. They're pretty. They love their team. They just don't bother paying to go.
But the only thing is, a lot of their fans come from St. Catharines and Niagara, and they can't get across the border right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean,
that's
you
their issue right now.
You guys are talking about the third place team in the division.
Yes.
For a team that's doing this bad,
you're telling
they're throat stomping Tampa.
I forgot we didn't mention.
You're telling me Craig Anderson's going to be a Vezina candidate all year long?
We forgot that Buffalo's a juggernaut. How did we not mention this?
They're in third place. They're in third place right now, and so
we all throw $50 down for them to win the Stanley Cup and see what happens.
They're tied with Detroit right now, and they have one less game played.
I would
so
put $50.
Yeah,
you know what? I'd put $50 on them making the playoffs, because the payoff would be decent.
What's bad is they are 2 points ahead of the Leafs with 2 less games. So I'll just leave you with that little note right there.
Soul.
Yeah. So you know what? It's the next. We got two more games before the next podcast here. So what do you?
Can you list them off? I don't have them pulled up yet.
Yeah. So they got Red Wings on Saturday and Golden Knights on Tuesday. What do you guys? What do you guys think? I will say this. I said they were gonna go. My bad. I got the numbers mixed up. They went 1-3. So I'm I'm gonna say 1-1.
1-1.
That's
That's
yeah.
fair.
I'm gonna say 1-1. Yeah, with the one being an overtime loss,
Oh, okay.
and you know what? The one being an overtime win. So
All right.
I'm gonna go with both games for going
We're gonna
overtime.
have 3 overtime games in a row
Uh,
because we had overtime tonight.
yes,
So
yes.
you're saying so you're saying they're taking Vegas to overtime and losing.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yes, I want to say
Bold
I
statement,
want to say
Kyle.
they'll lose to the Golden Knights and beat the Red Wings, but the Red Wings have been hot. Golden Knights, I mean, they're a good team through and through. So I don't know. I'm just gonna roll the dice. Both games are going to overtime. One's gonna be a win. One's gonna be a loss. That's where I
Okay.
stand. I don't exactly know the logistics. What do you got there, Chase? What do you think?
I say right now because how well they're playing, I say 0-2. Um, the Red Wings just literally came back from a 2-0 or 2-0 or 2-1 deficit to the Capitals tonight to win 3-2 in overtime, and they're looking really good. The only is the game that against Detroit, is that in Toronto or is that in Detroit?
They're both in Toronto by the looks of it.
So the one thing that's going to hurt the Red Wings is Tyler Bertuzzi will not be in the lineup. He is not vaccinated, so he cannot come across the border.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a bit of a hit, but I still think they're playing well enough that it will be a win for Detroit. And Vegas seems to be slowly figuring things out after their slow start. So I think they're going to be coming in with a vengeance and really want to kind of prove their point against you guys to really get things going. So I say it's going to be an 0-2 ride for you guys in the next two.
That's fair. What do you think, Brian?
I want to say 1-1, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 0-2.
Oh,
The Leafs. Think about it. The Leafs haven't beaten every time the Leafs have played an actual contending team, they've been spanked. Like
Brian, they've played one contending team.
and got spanked.
One.
Yeah, yeah. They played a contending team and got spanked. And when they played teams that should be AHL level, they got spanked.
Yeah, I know.
Barely beat Chicago. They beat Montreal at the beginning of the year, who has no Weber, no Price, no Deneau, no nothing. And I don't even remember the other win. What was the other win? Ottawa.
Ottawa.
It's Ottawa.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
and now they're playing Detroit and Vegas, who are real teams. And the way they've been playing, unless barely beating the Blackhawks gets them out of the slump, I think they're going to be 0-2. I think maybe they pick up 1 point out of 4. Maybe they get an overtime loss.
we need them to get out of the slump in the next two games.
We need them to be 2-0 this week to kind of break out, but I don't think it's happening.
Well, because after Vegas,
sorry, say that again.
Bruins?
After the Golden Knights, it's Lightning and the Bruins.
So that's 2 losses.
So they not necessarily.
That's 2 losses.
Necessarily, but it's
Not necessarily.
That's tough to go in the next 4. You go Detroit, who's they're an up and coming team. They're still not quite there, but then you go Vegas, strong contender, Tampa, strong contender, Boston, strong contender. Like that's a rough row. That's murderer's row.
Does Hutch get any of those games?
No.
No back-to-backs, right?
None. No, they get Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday.
So we're just gonna ride Campbell until Mrazek gets back, essentially.
Yes.
He's supposed to be coming back soon, though.
Yeah, he had a practice.
But even then, I mean, the 2 periods he played left by 3.
Yeah, he wasn't good. I'm just saying.
So you know what? We'll see what he can do.
And you don't want to rush a goalie back from a groin injury because, especially a goalie like Mrazek, who's got a history of injuries, you want him to heal up.
The one thing I'm scared of though is, do we keep letting Campbell play as much as he is? Because he has an injury history too. Like,
he does.
Scary.
He does, but do you play Hutchinson instead? Like,
if you have the time,
David Ayres.
No,
he's gonna win. He's undefeated.
He does have a win.
He was I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but at the Carolina game, he was doing the horn.
Yeah, he was doing the horn. They also had him on the intermissions and stuff on TV. Yeah, I saw that.
If your classification
Pain.
of getting a win
Pain.
is you're going to be your starting goal, or you can play him, then you might as well get Scott Foster, who filled in for the Chicago Blackhawks a few years ago at the age of 36. He's going to be about 41 now, but bring him back in.
Pain. All the pain.
I don't know. I think they just play Campbell till Mrazek's back.
Yeah.
Mrazek in for a couple games in a row. Let Campbell rest up.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have the days off in between,
They should
just
be
run Campbell. But then the minute Mrazek comes back and he's healthy, even if he has a rough go in the first game, you give him a second one, just see if you can snap him out of it. But then you give Campbell the rest.
Yep, I agree.
Simple.
I agree.
Okay, I think that's about it.
I think so too.
Yeah, so we'll be back here next Wednesday. Podcasts typically go up on the Thursday.
Yep.
And we will have 2 more games to talk about. Hopefully, I'm not so negative and depressed next week. Hopefully, we have a couple wins.
I think we'll be okay. I think 3 points.
It can't be worse, right? Like, it can't.
No,
you could
no,
be
it,
not wrong.
it can't. It can't.
Oh God. Curious.
Yeah.
What's the NHL record for most goals scored in a game, like a 12-1 win or something like that? Like, what's the highest that's ever been at?
Something for us to look up for next week.
I'm
Yeah.
curious. I'm gonna look that up.
Dale Sittler got 10 points in a game, so at least 10.
Yeah, I'm curious because 7-1 to a Penguinless Penguins. What if they play like Tampa and Tampa wins like 13-0?
That would never happen.
But it could. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
who knows?
curious.
Well, you know what? Look it up and find out for next week.
I'm gonna bring it up next week.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. I hear that's what the kids are saying nowadays. And have a good week. We'll see you next Wednesday.
See ya.